Okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and say what I got to say, and I'm gonna go back to listening to some of the people that I like to listen to, because I don't want to be influenced too much. They are influencers, and then I'm listening to them, and it's gonna make me say some of the same shit they saying, because I salute what they saying. Like, shouts out to the real Marlo. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna pause from watching the real Marlo, and I'm gonna say what I wanted to say in regards to breaking down the post-fight thoughts from Tank versus Ryan, and a few things that I didn't seen and heard that I wanted to break down just a little bit. Then I'm gonna get out y'all way. So first of all, Bernard Hopkins, B Hop, the executioner, at one point in time used to be my favorite fighter. At one point in time, Bernard Hopkins was my absolute favorite fighter before he beat Trinidad, Tito, Felix. Before he beat him, I was watching Bernard Hopkins come up Friday night fights, and it was like, you could tell, man, he didn't have no real push behind him. He was coming out with the executioner, and you could hear like nobody was supporting him. And they was putting him in all these fights with these young dudes that was younger than him, dudes that was bigger than him, but he was all crafty and cunning and had all those old school dirty boxing tactics. Turn you to where the ref can't see what's happening, and then do a little low blow and little head busting elbows. And he was sneaky, crafty, and I thought, he wasn't getting his credit and his just due. And when he was about to fight Felix, nobody was giving him a fair shake. And when he beat Felix, I celebrated, because I seen him like coming up, and people wouldn't. And he just was at one point in time one of my favorite fighters. And even to listen to him break down certain fights, his point of view being all the philosopher or whatever. I used to like to listen to his points of view on boxing. And that shit just over the years just started to change. And I done lost respect for Bernard Hopkins over the years. And up until recently, he's done some things that just made me look at him from a different, it's amazing. It's flip-flop, because Mayweather was never my favorite fighter. I never like just rooted against. At one point in time, I did root against Mayweather when he was fighting against Shane Mosley. I kind of was rooting against him, and when he was fighting against Zab Judah, everybody was wanting to see Mayweather lose. But other than that, I never really just wanted him to lose. As he went on to, Mayweather was one of my favorite fighters to watch. You know what I'm saying? But to watch him as a promoting Tank, there was a lot of things that I felt like he was doing and saying that was just taking away the spotlight and taking away the shine and putting the spotlight on himself. And some of it I felt like was unintentional, but some of it was just like, this dude cannot take himself out of the damn spotlight and let somebody else shine. And I was losing respect for Mayweather in that regard, because I'm like, man, this dude Tank, let this dude shine, man. Let him do what he gonna. And when it came to Tank's biggest fight as of today with Ryan Garcia, I was so glad that Floyd Mayweather handled it the way he handled it and stayed out of the promotion. You didn't even see him until right at the fight, to show support and to be in his corner. Like an OG, he did it the right way. He was not all in the camera, smiling, laughing, dancing, talking about his whole career, talking about Canelo, talking about Pacquiao, talking about his pay-per-views and his mansions and his Bugattis and all. He stayed out the way. And you seen Tank put his entire team on and show just the evolution of Tank. And when Mayweather did, at the post fight, he did do a few little, boxing whisperer come up behind it. Here's the. But other than that, he didn't steal the spotlight. He didn't jump in there and take away the glory. He passed the baton. You know what I'm saying? He passed the torch. He passed the crown. Changing of the guards for real. And where was Bernard Hopkins? Where was Oscar De La Hoya? Where was Guzin? It's crazy. So I'm still hearing some people talk a little crazy. First of all, Ryan Garcia. I would tip my hat to Ryan Garcia for signing the contract, climbing in the ropes, and doing the best he could do, and fighting. I will give him that credit. One thing he said after the fight, and it's okay for a fighter to lose and then analyze what he did wrong. That's cool. He said, I felt like I got a little bored and I started to just try to get him out of there. I got stupid. I got off the game plan. I started throwing punches and I got caught with a shot. I give him that, because when you lose, you do want to say, what did I do wrong? What did I do right? But he did also say, if the next fighter does this, then he can win against Tank. And first of all, he only could be talking about Devin Haney or Shakur Stevenson. And that just sound like Oscar De La Hoya talk. Like Oscar De La Hoya always act like he laid the blueprint on how to beat Mayweather when you never beat Mayweather. So for Ryan to get beat the way he got beat, the only thing he should say is, I lost to the better man. All that later on talking about his legs felt weak and maybe the rehydration clause, and he just caught me with a good shot. All that Ryan Garcia digress from that talk. The best man won. He was a better man. He beat you, and he will always be able to beat you. You just not built like he's built. He's a tank. He's a pit bull. You ain't that. You are built. You breakable. You fragile. You sensitive. You got a fragile heart. You got some guts, but Tank busted up your guts, and you just not built like what Tank is built like, and that's cool. And don't go giving advice to say how you could beat Tank when you can't beat Tank. You don't have an idea or a clue on how to beat Tank. So are you going to pass the torch to Devin Haney to say Devin Haney does this? It just reminds me of De La Hoya losing to Mayweather and then always talking about, I gave such and such the blueprint to beat Mayweather. People talking about, could Ryan Garcia get up? Yes and no. Man, if he would have got up, I wanted him to get up. If he would have got up, it would have been brutal. It would have been devastating. But he couldn't get up. He didn't get up. So who cares? I don't care if he got up. It is what it is. If he would have got up, he would have ruined his future. He would have been destroyed. So he did what he had to do. So he couldn't get up, right? Devin Haney. Not because I'm hearing people now saying, and you the face of boxing. First of all, is Tank the face of boxing right now? Tank is the face of boxing. Canelo's not the face of boxing right now. You know what I'm saying? Come on. If he fights Bivol and wins, whether at 168 or 175, if he beats him and win, if he fights him and win, and damn near had to beat him twice, he had to beat him at both weight classes. He would have to beat Bivol at 168 and beat Bivol at 175, and then he would have to beat David Benavidez, and then he would be the face of boxing, and then he could retire. Until then, he's not the face of boxing anymore. You know what I'm saying? He's just the guy that dared to be great, somewhat cherry picked Bevel and lost, and now he's back there somewhere. Tank is the face of boxing. Whenever somebody's the face of boxing, then you hear people trying to say who can beat him. That's why they say, as soon as you hear Tank beating Ryan, they say, well, Devin can beat him, Shakur can beat him. You're already trying to find the people that's going to be able to beat him. Shakur hasn't proven himself at 135, which I would give Shakur the best shot in my mind when I match up their styles. I would say Shakur had the best potential to beat him, but I still think Tank will beat Shakur at this point in time. And the same thing for Devin. I think for Devin it'll be worse, because I think Devin got a little bit more heart, skill, and dog in him than Ryan Garcia. So it's going to really take. It's going to elevate Tank. It would take Tank to another level. And that's when you will really see what they be saying when they say, you ain't seen the best of Tank, because that wasn't the best of Tank against Ryan Garcia. Devin Haney going to have his hands full with Lomachenko, which that's going to improve Devin Haney if he can get past Lomachenko. And I say if he can get past Lomachenko. But from what I see right now, Devin Haney versus Tank, I see Devin Haney getting stopped by Tank, or even getting outboxed by Tank. Because I heard people already say, well, Ryan could have just boxed him behind the jab and won easy. And these supposed to be pugilistic boxing minds to say he could have just did this. If he could have did that, he would have did that. He can't do that. It's not in his arsenal. He don't have the ability. Devin Haney got a great jab. He got good defense. Is Devin Haney a complete fighter? I don't think so, because he has a lot of skills. He has a long jab, good decent defense, but he lacks power. And sometimes his defense gets a little shaky. And when you're talking about Tank, who is more of a complete fighter with power, and you look at the resume and the IQ, it's a close fight. It can go either way because it's boxing, but I have to lean heavily towards Tank to either hurt Devin Haney to the body or hit him to the chin the same way Linares hit Devin Haney. And you've seen the effects when it's not that when Linares hit Devin Haney just, you know what I'm saying, looked like he just had a weak chin. It's the fact that his legs started to, you know, his legs went wobbly. And when your legs get disconnected from your brain, it's more than just having a weak chin. It's just the fact that you can get hit and then your legs can go. Like Zab Judah versus Costa Zoo, right? Your legs is gone, you gone. And people made great, you know, comparisons between Mayweather getting his chin checked by Shane Mosley and knowing have the wherewithal to start to hold on, clinch, regroup, and then put together. And he did a good job at surviving and beating Linares. But one, Linares is no Shane Mosley, and Shane Mosley was not even in his prime when he caught Mayweather on the chin. So in my mind, it's a great comparison. But if I take out Shane Mosley and Linares and put in Tank, and take out Mayweather and put in Devin Haney, and the way Shane Mosley landed that shot against Mayweather, if Tank lands that shot against Devin Haney, it's not going to be the same thing how Mayweather survived and then continued to outclass Shane Mosley, in my opinion. Okay? Let me wrap it up with this. I don't want to make this video too long. And you know Tank's the face of boxing, and you can know he crossed over when you hear him on different media platforms like the Undisputed or whatever with Shannon Sharpe. I did get a chance to listen to that, and for me, Shannon Sharpe, it almost sounded disgusting to me how instead of him just giving Tank his credit and giving Ryan Garcia his credit, he found a way to just completely change the conversation and talking bad about Errol Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford. And I felt like you did a disservice to the fight and to the, I mean, this not even the same thing to compare those two. So I wish they would stop that. I wish they would stop trying to connect that dot and say, well, we had Tank and Ryan fight. Why can't we get Terrence Bud Crawford versus Errol Spence and they ducking each other? Now, I have to say, Real Marlo beat me to the punching. If anybody can be labeled as a duck, that was Terrence Bud Crawford when it came to this negotiation for Errol Spence versus Terrence Bud Crawford that fell to pieces. Those negotiations didn't go the right way because of the business mind, the stubbornness, and the unwillingness of Terrence Bud Crawford to do what he had to do to make that fight. And I'm on record, I haven't called him a duck, but he didn't want to fight Spence for whatever reasons in this last little negotiation process that they went through. Now, you can go back years and years and years and say Errol Spence said, why would I not go the easy route and fight Shawn Porter? But when it came down to a contract being drawn up and sent to somebody and revised and all that, and somebody saying, no, I'm going to go this way, I'm not going to go that was Terrence Bud Crawford. And even at the end of the day, it's not the same. It's not the same circumstances at all for Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Tank Davis. And they fought. Give them their credit, give them their salute, talk about the fight, talk about the strategy, talk about the knockout. Why even try to pivot and mainly focus on Errol Spence versus Terrence Bud Crawford and then try to give it a black eye on the sport to say these guys ain't even fought and they won't fight, they ducking each other. It just was an unnecessary conversation. Unless you really trying to put pressure on those guys to fight. Because even at this point in time, to be honest with you, I will always be interested in seeing that fight, but it's not the same. It's a little over marinated, and you know, you got so much time invested into it and so much thought invested into it. You still got to watch that fight when it happens, and I hope it's a huge fight, and I hope it's bigger than Tank versus Ryan. But the fight is not what it coulda, shoulda, woulda been when both these guys was completely in their prime. And I still got my same pick. Anyways, I'm gonna digress because I don't want to make this video fucking an hour long. Ryan, to me, he had a little heart, hardly no brains and hardly no balls. He got hit with a shot that he couldn't recover from. If he would have recovered and got back up, it would have been brutal. He would have got destroyed. Tank, I salute his whole team. That's true loyalty and confidence. I want to say Coach Calvin Ford was so confident that his fighter was going to go through and destroy Ryan Garcia that he had a whole tattoo on his back that was so fire, with the champ maker, with the, you know what I'm saying, Calvin Ford with the glasses, with the cheap GTD hat on, with the little, you know, with the whole boom, he had the Bible, you know what I'm saying. That's probably for the other coach, you know what I'm saying. He always calls him the Bible of boxing, with the sunlight coming down on the Bible, then it's shining on this boxing ring, and it just has so many different elements to that tattoo. Tattoo even looked better than Gervonta Tank Davis' Baltimore tattoo. They artists, whoever doing their work, is crucial with that ink. That was clean. That was what I, you know, and for him to do something like that, and the way he did it, and to surprise him after the fight with a whole back tattoo, that was just so clean. I bet you Joe Guzzi and them don't have no tattoo of Ryan. They all kind of just, you know what I'm saying, abandoned him. They abandoned ship. They left Ryan Garcia out there, you know what I'm saying, to swim with the sharks by itself. I felt like De La Hoya is exposed. Whatever his excuses is, death threats, all that shit is exposed. Bernard Hopkins, he a legend in my opinion, but like I said, lately, over the course of some time, he really been, I don't know, it's just, I lost a little bit of respect for him. And I gained some respect, a little bit more respect for Mayweather, because I felt like he played this move perfectly. Leonard Ellaby, I gained some respect for Leonard Ellaby. They played that move perfectly. That was some checkmate, and no disrespect towards Devin Haney and Bill Haney. I hope to see them guys fight. I hope they had success against Lomachenko. I really do. But I feel like some people, don't get all hyped up and just believe the hype and think that Devin Haney is just the greatest boxer of all time and Lomachenko is just this old fighter that don't have nothing left in the tank. I don't think it's going to be that way. I think if anything, Lomachenko is going to push Devin Haney to where I can see more from Devin Haney before I have a little bit more confidence in him being as great as being advertised. Because I'm going to be honest, man, I just can't give him all the credit in the world because he has the belts based off beating Kambosos. Because I was just never so impressed with Kambosos. And I give Kambosos all the credit in the world for being Teofimo Lopez. But when you watch that Teofimo Lopez fight, and you watch how stupid he fought, and you watch how Teofimo Lopez came out there and blew his whole load in the first half of the first round and then got dropped. I just, Devin Haney, I wish him nothing but success. And I don't even have to I don't like when you just automatically start to say, well, you got to fight Tank, and they got to fight each other if they stay at 135. But if I'm being realistic in my mind and I'm matching their styles and I'm matching their pedigree and I'm just seeing who brings more dangerous arsenal to the war, to the battle, it's Tank, period. But that's my thoughts. Long video, I know. So if you stuck with me this long, subscribe to the channel. Salute, salute, salute. Bow.